Welcome to the barn at Bear Ranch, baby. Everyone always asks, Billy, how did you build this barn? What did it cost? And how did you get this job? Well, in this video, I'm gonna answer those first two questions. I got a separate video we're whipping up to answer how I got this job, but let's get into it. Whether you're building your own barn or maybe you're hiring a professional, this video is gonna help you understand what exactly you're getting into. In this video, I'm gonna break down all the major components that went into this barn build, such as the slab, the lumber, the roofing, the stain, the garage doors, all of it. Also, I'll not be discussing overhead costs and labor costs. This is a very dangerous topic. This barn being built here in Central Texas will cost something totally different on the West Coast, in the Northeast. So it's important to understand you may have twice as much overhead, you may have no overhead at all. But if you're wanting a quote on labor, hit me up. I'd be happy to give you pricing based on your project and your location, or I recommend contacting a local professional to see how much your project will cost. But without further ado, buckle up and let's nerd out on this baby.
Buckle up, baby. Are you kidding me?
Part one is the barn specs. Let's discuss what we built. So right now we're standing on a slab that's 80 foot deep from front to back and 60 foot wide. Our barn itself is 60 by 40, 60 deep by 40 foot wide. And we have a side awning over here that was an after the fact kind of a thing, and that is 10 foot wide. And the last thing that's important to understand that this is a post frame construction barn. It's also important for you to understand the anatomy of a barn. So we're gonna be using this B-roll image right here throughout this video, so that way you have a good understanding of what's going on. Part two, site prep and dirt work. This is something we're gonna touch briefly on because this is one of those things where cost and time associated is gonna be relevant to your area. Here in Central Texas, the ground is predominantly rock, which is great because we'll likely never have any foundation issues. Knock on wood. Pet the dog.
You weird, buddy. You're weird.
But in terms of moving dirt around and soil, it takes up a tremendous amount of time because Nash, shut up. However, the flip side of it is it takes a lot of time. It's very tedious to move things around. It's not fun. But where you're at, you may have great soil, great clay. It might make moving around tremendously easy. Maybe difficult for the engineering process. Again, it's all relevant to where you're located. Our barn was built here in this field where it's on a gentle slope. The side that I'm standing on right now, our slab is about 2.5, 3 feet high off the natural ground. However, on the other side of the barn, there's about a 4 to 5 inch lip because the ground slopes coming down this way. The runoff will go this way. Why this is important is because we had to bring in a lot of fill dirt to make sure things were all leveled out. And luckily for us, on this 250 acre property, we were able to grab dirt about a couple hundred yards away. Whereas elsewhere, it would cost us more time and more money to go get that dirt elsewhere. Special shout out to my friends over at 311 Construction who handled all the site prep and dirt work. It was actually lumped in as part of the job for handling the concrete work, which we're actually about to get into right now, which is part three. Concrete. For a project of this magnitude, it could run anywhere from $65,000 to $80,000 if you're using a reputable company, and that's based on here in Central Texas. The factors that go into that are the slab thickness, how much rebar, how many footings you're using. All of these can drastically vary in terms of cost. It's important to note that concrete pricing has jumped up quite a bit over the last few years. So if you're basing pricing on something that you had done years ago, don't. And also, maybe you're watching this video years down the road, I would recommend getting current, up-to-date pricing. This was definitely one of the bigger ticket items for this barn build. And it's also important to know that whatever you're building, whether it's a barn, a home, a shop, do not go cheap on your foundation. Foundation is hands-on the most important thing, and it's essential to structural integrity, stability, and supporting your entire building for many years to come. Part 4, lumber for our barn, and this is where things get juicy. All the lumber used for this entire barn build, I created a custom cut list, sent it off to the Amish where it was milled in Western New York. Now, why the Amish, you ask? Well, the short answer comes down to two things: cost and quality. For cost, if we were to use Western red cedar for our barn build, I received quotes from 3 different vendors, and it ranged anywhere from $110,000 upwards to over $140,000. That's a lot of money. However, we did not use cedar, we used larch. Why larch, you ask? Well, for 3 main reasons. Number 1, again, was the cost. 2 is aesthetics. You cannot argue with how beautiful this barn is. And number 3, and most importantly, is durability and structural strength. Larch, significantly more dense than cedar. But getting back to the cost, this is gonna be an abbreviated version. I'm gonna make a very in-depth video regarding the larch, the Amish, the transportation, the why and the how we did it. But for now, all you need to know is that it costs roughly $45,000 in lumber and roughly $10,000 in transportation to have it shipped from Western New York down here to Texas on 2 separate 18-wheelers. Therefore, all in cost, talking $55,000 versus over $100,000. We're talking better quality, better pricing, no brainer. Enough about larch, let's talk about that cut list that I mentioned before. First off, we're gonna talk about 6x6 posts. There is a total of 42 6x6 posts set up vertically to support the barn and its garage doors. And outside here, there are 6 posts out here to support the side awning attached to the barn. For our trusses, we have approximately 6 posts per truss. And lastly, there's another 12 posts that make up the beams that run around the perimeter of our top walls. And in total, there is a whopping 102 6x6 posts for this barn project. These posts were all cut to various lengths. We have 10 foot, 12 foot, 16 foot, 20 foot, and lastly 24 foot, which was used for our trusses. The perks of going with the Amish is that we get to get our cuts custom lengths. Moving on from our posts, let's talk about the girts. Let's revert to this image here to our barn anatomy. The girts are basically the horizontal slats that we attach to our posts. From a building perspective, I had a fence background when I first got started, so if you can build a fence, in my opinion, you can kind of build a barn. Once our posts were set, we put our girts up, which is similar to a fence because you'll put your rails up, connect them to the posts. For this, we have 5 rows of girts that are spaced out 3 feet apart. These were 2 by 6 by 12 foot, and we have a total 60 girts installed on this barn. Next up is our purlins. What are purlins? These rest perpendicular to our trusses. Where I'm standing right now, I'm below a purlin. We fastened our planks on top of the purlins, which the purlins are fastened on top of the trusses. Our purlins are made up of 4 by 6 by 12s. I'm gonna throw some math out here for you to give our total amount of 4 by 6s. So we have, again, 7 trusses. We have 7 bays of where our purlins were at. And in per bay, there is 6 purlins. So 6 purlins per bay times 7 bays is 42. That's just for one side of our barn. If you do that on the other side of the barn, we have another 42. So in total, we have 84 purlins, and they're spaced out roughly 4 feet apart. After our posts and our girts and our purlins, lastly, we have our siding. We had the Amish cut 1 by 10 by 12 footers for our boards. These boards were installed around the entire perimeter of our barn, as well as used for our finished ceiling on top of our purlins. In total, we used over 600 1 by 10 by 12 inch planks. This was incredibly tedious process installing them, especially on our roof, because we had to keep running a string line to ensure that they all stayed nice and straight. These boards are all raw cut. They could vary by an eighth, anywhere up to a quarter of an inch difference. They're not perfect. The dimensions for each and every board are not exact. Without continuously checking our work, we would risk the boards not being aligned and it would not look good when you're standing underneath looking up at the ceiling. So this involved moving our scissor lifts thousands of times and always having to keep someone on the roof to secure them after they're placed. But regarding the siding actually installed here on the ground, that was kind of easy because it didn't involve scissor lifts or being approximately 15 to 20 feet up in the air. It's important to note that our barn is made up of board and batten siding. I just discussed the board portion, now let's discuss the battens. For our battens, we did not order battens. In fact, we had to cut each and every single batten that is on this barn that you see. We used any coals from our 2x6 lumber that was the girts originally. We used a table saw and we ripped it as a 2x2. And for your knowledge regarding the install portion, we installed all our boards flush together as tight as possible, and then we came back through afterwards to install our battens over each seam. And again, if you didn't note from prior, our battens are 2 inches wide. The roofing is just black. Our panel roofing, I want to shout out to my friends over at Central Texas Metal Roofing Supply. Give them a shout. Ask for Jonathan. He's the man. He's the one that kind of helped us get the takeoff for our particular roof project. He'll get you taken care of. Regarding the installation for our roofing, number one, we had to install our felt roof deck protection. Why, you ask? Well, it helps prevent moisture infiltration from rain, snow, ice dams, helps protect against rot and mold. Basically, you unroll it, you staple it, and that's it. Once our felt paper was secured down, now it's time for our roofing. Our panels came in 26-4 lengths. They are 3 feet wide. Once our roofing panels were installed, that is when we came back through with our ridge cap. And last but not least, our total cost in roofing includes panels, ridge cap, flashing, etc. 10,000 G's. Welcome inside the barn, where we talk about garage doors. So, as you might notice by me opening this door, these are not automatically opened by a unit. These are all hand pulls, which I kind of think adds to the effect of the barn. In total on this barn, we have 6 garage doors. There's 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 1 on the front, 1 on the back. 4 of these garage doors, like this one I'm opening right now, these are approximately 8 foot wide by 9 foot tall. And the specs for the garage doors on the front and the back, those are 11 foot wide by 12 foot tall. We did not install all the garage doors here in the barn. I want to shout out my friend Jason, who's the owner of Squared Away Garage Door Services. He's a veteran-owned business, always trying to support our men and women who support our country, past and present. So if you're local here to Central Texas, be sure to give him a holler. Let's discuss the information regarding the garage door. I'm not a garage door guy, so I'm gonna be reading off the information here on this phone. The information is as follows. It is a black anodized finished glass. It is clear 1/8 inch thick glass. It has a roof pitch 2-inch track, steel punch angle framing, double spring torsion system, nylon ball bearing rollers. No clue what any of that means, but it looks great. And total cost for all our garage doors here, approximately $55,000. Please note again, if you want a motorized unit, that's obviously gonna cost more. This pricing is probably outdated now due to tariffs, but for more up-to-date pricing, contact your local garage door professional. Part 7, electrical. It's very important to be proactive with this step prior to pouring your foundation. We knew exactly where our panel was gonna be for electric. I'm standing right now in the front left corner of our barn. We had to dig a trench roughly 100 yards from the main home to our barn, so you have to put that into consideration for electrical. You might have power much closer, you might have power that you gotta pull from much farther. We have a total of 8 receptacles here in the barn. 6 of them are inside, 2 of them are outside. We have a total of 12 lights inside the barn. 2 of them are outside, totaling 14. And lastly, 2 big ass fans. Total pricing for electrical was roughly $20,000. Again, it's gonna vary based on your project, your size. You might not have to pull power from a home. You might have twice as many lights. I'm gonna be beating a dead horse here by saying contact your local professional for up-to-date pricing. Part 8, let's talk stain. This is the part of the project, the finishing touch that makes everything with this lumber really pop and look beautiful. We used a boatload of stain for this barn project because you have to keep in mind, we have to stain the entire inside as well as the entire outside. There's over 5,000 square feet of surface area to be stained. So how much stain did we use, you ask? We used Wood Defender Cedar Tone, and we used at least 10 5-gallon buckets. Those retail for about $250 a pop. So after taxes and everything, we used approximately $3,000 worth of stain. Why stain your lumber? Well, for two main reasons: looks and longevity. You're spending a lot of money on your wood, regardless of the project. Don't you want to look nice? By staining it, it makes it pop, adds to the graininess. And number two is the longevity. By not staining your lumber, you're risking it rotting out faster, and the UV, especially here in Texas, wood gets absolutely destroyed by the UV rays. The wood will eventually patina, turn gray. And if that's the look you're going for, then absolutely do not stain your wood. But once you install this, it looks so rich and so beautiful, and by staining it, it really enhances it. So, stain your lumber. Some other little nitty-gritty stuff was like this front door here. This is all custom. We framed everything to fit this space. This front door was about $900. And also inside, I mentioned with the electrical, we mentioned all the lights. We have all these lights. They give it a nice barn kind of feel. These are about $150 a pop. And the big ass fans, for instance, those are about $400 to $4,500 each, so $9,000 a pop. The last two finishing touches regarding this barn that I had nothing to do with, the first would be this nice turf area that you can use to work out in. This is all done by Play Global. Can help you out there on cost. And the other thing would be, you'll see speakers mounted on the outside of the barn everywhere, as well as on the inside. The sound system here is just phenomenal. I'll tag below the name of the company. Can't remember off the top of my head. The gentleman's name is Chris. Came all the way out from Georgia just to install this here on the barn. But aside from those two things, that's all I got for you. That's a wrap here on our barn build. If there's anything I left out, which I'm sure I have, please drop a comment below. I'll either answer it in the comments or I might make another YouTube video. Also, keep in mind we got 2 more videos coming up that are in production. One is about the Amish, the why, the what, transporting it, larch, etc. That's gonna be a great video, don't wanna miss it. And number 2, a commonly asked question is, how did I get this job? Videos in the works, you don't wanna miss that one as well. Appreciate you watching. See you next time.